What do you think of when you see this? Do you automatically associate the symbol with the Nazis, with violence, brutality, genocide? Or do you think about the symbol that it was for thousands of years before? The symbol of peace, well-being, hope. Of course, there is no wrong answer, because the swastika is both of these things. If you think about it, very few things in the world can have such a powerful impact and stand for both good and evil. It's amazing how many people pray towards it, and from another point of view, how many people are disgusted just by the sight of it. But one thing's for sure, it is not only one of the most powerful symbols in the world, it is also one of the most complex. Growing up traveling through many different cultures from a young age, I understood the positive meaning of the swastika before I knew the way that the Western culture saw it. And by being a part of that minority of Western children who see the symbol from the opposite viewpoint, I've come to realize just how controversial it is. Now, I can understand both sides and reasons behind the love and the hate of the swastika, as well as explain the importance of it. Most of us don't know just how old and dispersed the symbol is. It has been, and still is, used in so many places. In India, Indonesia, and Japan, the swastika is used for religious and spiritual reasons. It has been used for centuries by Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains. And in ancient Sanskrit, swastika means happiness and prosperity. But, opposed to what you may think, this symbol is not just confined to Asia. Artifacts have been found in Native American culture and even in ancient Europe. It was woven and beaded into carpets and other decorative items by the Native Americans. It was found on ancient pottery in the lost city of Troy, which is in modern-day Turkey. And it was even found engraved on an ancient spearhead in Germany. More towards modern times, believe it or not, the swastika was used by Girl Scouts in the US. It was put on the cover of the Girls Club Handbook, along with many other magazines. The symbol was found on a plane in the US Army, and a giant swastika was built on the Corn Palace in South Dakota as a symbol of good luck. For me, it was mind-blowing to discover that the swastika was used in the Western world within just a few years of when it was appropriated by Hitler, and the concept of it to much of the world was brutally hijacked. Before I continue, I would like to acknowledge just how difficult a subject this is to do a project on. Coming into Quest with this topic, I expected it was going to be hard. I expected surprised and nervous faces, and it could have been very difficult for me to find someone as cooperative as the people who helped me. So, I would like to quickly say thank you to everyone who helped me during the making of this project. You really made a difference. I would also like to say that I'm sorry if I hurt or offend anybody by not giving this hugely complex and sensitive issue the careful attention it deserves. It was not my intention. I interviewed Stephen Heller, a graphic designer at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, and author of the book, The Swastika, Symbol Beyond Redemption. And I asked him a few questions. One of the questions was about whether or not he thought that children should be educated on topics like this in school. This was his answer. Children learn language. Symbols are a visual language. The swastika is a major part of language studies. When we think about language, we often think about words, but we typically don't consider visual language. Symbols are a universal language. One symbol can mean so many things and make such a big impact on the world. Without the need for words, we can automatically translate a symbol into what it means and stands for. And we do this all the time, from religious to patriotic and consumer culture. When we see popular worldwide symbols, many of them go through all of our minds defined as the same thing, regardless of what verbal language we speak. How then should we, as progressive people in the 21st century, understand the swastika? Well, that's a hugely complex question without a simple answer. But one large step that we can take to move further in that direction is being culturally relative. We need to be conscious of the fact that different cultures view things from different angles. And by understanding their viewpoints, we can further understand their culture. This year, there has been discussion about removing the Japanese swastika, called the manji, from tourist maps for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. When looking at many tourist maps in Japan, the manji is placed where the Buddhist temples are. In my opinion, Japan should not have to alter their culture to soothe people who aren't comfortable with a piece of their society. However, I understand that others may have different opinions. Many people in Korea aren't bothered at all by the Japanese swastika on the maps, but they are extremely upset that the Japanese imperial rising sun flag was not banned from being waved at the Olympics because of their colonial crimes using it. This just comes to show how different symbols mean extremely different things to other cultures. Symbols are a great way for us to acknowledge the way that our understanding of the world is defined by our culture and experiences. Let me give you an example. This symbol is significant to many of us. It may represent school, friends, work, community, or many other things. But to others outside of the green school community, it's meaningless. These two symbols may mean nothing to you, but to the Ashanti people in modern-day Ghana, they represent the power of God and perseverance. It's greatly important to educate people on topics like this that they don't fully understand, so that they can have an educated opinion. I hope that one day in the future, most people will be able to perceive both angles of the swastika. And I also hope that others can share the knowledge that they already have to change the blind lens that people see this through. We must always acknowledge the Nazi swastika as a symbol of hate, and in no way am I trying to diminish that. But someone shifted one of the most beautiful historical symbols into what many view today as a symbol of hate. And it must also be acknowledged in its original form. So that's what I'm challenging you to do. I would like you to educate others on how the swastika has other meanings. And not just that, there are so many other things that we don't fully understand, that we don't even notice. In the words of Stephen Heller, don't be blind to things in plain sight. And the next time you see a symbol, out of the hundreds you see every day, maybe you can stop to think how your interpretation is affected by your own worldview and upbringing, and how so many symbols around the world exist, like the swastika, between love and hate. Thank you.